April 26th marks the beginning of a moment that can be loosely described as a turning point in the logic of reality. Not in a dramatic sense, but in the way the very system of how the world operates is gradually being reorganized. And the most interesting part is this: most people won't notice it at first. And then, suddenly, will become clear that everything has changed. Uranus, the planet of sudden shifts, technology, and unexpected turns, leaves Taurus and moves into Gemini. The element of information, communication, thinking, and speed. And this is not just an astrological formality. It is a symbolic shift in the operating system of collective perception. Interestingly, Uranus rotates almost on its side, with an axial tilt of about 98 degrees. And that is exactly why, in symbolic terms, it is associated with reversals, sudden changes of direction, and unconventional logic of events, as if its very nature says, stability is not my mode. Each zodiac sign is traversed by Uranus in approximately 7 years, and these periods often align with technological eras that transform the lifestyles of entire generations. This is not about a single year. It is about a wave of changes that unfolds gradually, but irreversibly. The last time Uranus was in Gemini was from 1941 to 1949, and that was a period that can hardly be called calm. The world was going through war, but at the same time, an enormous technological leap was taking place. In 1945, ENIAC was created, one of the first electronic computers, which effectively marked the beginning of the digital era. Around the same time, radio, aviation, and communication systems were rapidly developing. The world was beginning to accelerate through information for the first time. Looking deeper, Uranus in Gemini has always been associated with revolutions in data transmission, from newspapers and telegraphs in the 19th century to the internet and artificial intelligence today. And now, we are once again entering a similar point. We already see how artificial intelligence is developing, not linearly, but in jumps. Today, it may seem like a tool, and tomorrow, it may become a full-scale system, influencing work, education, and communication. And it is precisely such leaps that are symbolically described by Uranus. From a sociological perspective, there is also a significant shift. The relevance period of professions is shrinking. Where skills used to remain relevant for 30 to 40 years, today it is often 5 to 10 years. This means that a stable professional trajectory is gradually being replaced by a flexible model of constant renewal. And here, a key psychological point arises. Human psychology is structured in such a way that the brain seeks stability, even when the external environment has already changed. That is why, even as the world accelerates, there remains an inner desire to leave everything as it is. This creates an internal resistance to change. But reality is already operating differently. Uranus in Gemini amplifies speed, information flows, and multitasking. It does not change life gradually, it does it in jumps, sometimes in multiple areas at once. And if before it was possible to build a long-term strategy for decades, now the winner is the one who adapts, learns, and restructures faster. The old world said, choose a profession and stick to it for life. The new world says, learn to reinvent yourself multiple times. This does not mean chaos. It means flexibility as a new form of stability. We are already living in an era where information is becoming the main resource. Not just knowledge, but the ability to quickly process, connect, and apply it. That is why artificial intelligence, neural networks, digital platforms, and new forms of communication are developing so rapidly right now. We are literally watching the system update in real time. And it is important to understand, acceleration is not a bug in the process. It is the process itself. And the more a person tries to hold on to old stability, the more they feel the world slipping away. But in reality, it is not slipping away. It is simply changing format. And if success used to be built on stability, now, it is increasingly built on adaptability, not on holding a form, but on being able to change it. And that is the core meaning of this period. The world is not collapsing. It is updating. It is just doing it faster than we are used to. And the question is no longer whether changes will happen, but how quickly you can adapt to the new speed. Because the era has already changed. Most people just haven't realized it yet. Global change always shows up through personal life areas, where old patterns break down and restructuring begins. Each zodiac sign experiences this shift in a specific sphere that requires adaptation and transformation. This period can be seen as a systemic upgrade of personal reality, affecting communication, resources, identity, relationships, career, worldview, and inner foundations for everyone. For Aries, a long cycle of transformation begins in thinking, communication, and information exchange. Everything related to learning, interaction, environment, and short-term movement becomes faster and more complex at the same time. Not only speech patterns change, but also thought processes. Reactions become quicker, ideas more daring, and familiar ways of communication may stop working. There may be a strong urge to step into public expression media, teaching, content creation, or voice-based projects. At the same time, the immediate environment changes. People you interact with daily may shift, or relationships may take new forms. The key task is to learn new ways of expression without losing inner clarity. For Taurus, a restructuring begins in resources, income, and self-worth. Financial life becomes less fixed and more dynamic. New income sources may appear, often unconventional or connected to technology, online platforms, or personal projects. Traditional earning models may require updating or replacement. The perception of stability changes. What once felt secure becomes flexible. A key inner process is redefining personal value, which becomes the foundation for new financial decisions and growth. For Gemini, one of the strongest cycles of personal transformation begins. Identity, behavior, appearance, and reactions to the world all change. This is a period of deep reprogramming of personality. You may feel like becoming a different version of yourself faster, freer, and less predictable even to yourself. There is a strong need to step out of old roles and stop meeting external expectations. Life increasingly demands authenticity, not an image, but a real self that can evolve without limits. For Cancer, a deep internal process activates, connected to the subconscious, psyche, and emotional cleansing. This is not a visibly external period. Most changes happen inside. Sensitivity and intuition increase, and old emotional states may resurface. There is a growing need for solitude, healing, and inner work. Much is processed through silence, dreams, and reflection. The main task is releasing outdated emotional patterns that no longer support growth. For Leo, social structures shift. Friends, communities, projects, and long-term goals. New groups and unexpected connections may appear, while older social circles naturally fade. The understanding of the future changes. You begin to see it differently than before. The key is not to hold on to outdated roles, but to rebuild your direction and social environment. For Virgo, restructuring begins in career and social status. This is one of the key cycles affecting professional life. Work, role, or direction may change, sometimes suddenly, through new opportunities or internal realization that the old path is complete. The shift is from formal success to a more authentic and personally aligned form of achievement. Libra, worldview expansion begins. Beliefs, perspectives, and life philosophy undergo revision. New learning paths, travel experiences, cultural shifts, or interest in intellectual and spiritual systems may appear. Old definitions of right and wrong gradually transform. This is a phase of intellectual and meaning expansion beyond previous mental boundaries. For Scorpio, deep transformation activates in shared resources and inner psychological layers. This may involve finances connected to others, obligations, debts, investments, or emotional attachments. At the same time, a strong inner cleansing occurs, release of fears, dependencies, and psychological blocks. This is a rebirth process where crises lead to greater emotional freedom. For Sagittarius, relationships become the central theme. Old partnership patterns stop working, making space for more honest and free forms of connection. Relationships may renew, transform, or end if they no longer support growth. Unexpected encounters may also shift your understanding of partnership itself. For Capricorn, daily structure changes, work routines, habits, health, and lifestyle patterns. The system of how I live every day is being rebuilt. Work schedules, responsibilities, and time management may shift significantly. There is also a stronger focus on physical well-being and more conscious self-care. As for Aquarius, creativity, love, and self-expression become more active. Spontaneity returns, along with the desire to create, play, and experience life more fully. New romantic or creative experiences may strongly shift emotional state. The key is allowing authenticity without over-control. Pisces, home, family, and inner stability become central themes. Changes in living space, family structure, or connection to the past may occur. This is a deep process of releasing inherited emotional patterns. A new sense of security emerges, not external, but internal and self-sustained.